Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. Tonight I'm going to talk about the laid back dater. Now, what is the laid back dater? Okay. The laid back dater is somebody who's laid back about dating. Okay. That's somebody that maybe texts you, maybe occasionally calls you, shows interest, but, they're not giving you enough. All right. So I'm going to call them the laid back dater. Now, why do we have people that are laid back daters today? Because there are so many people that are out there that are hurt. And you know why I'm saying this? Not only from what I've seen, in dating and, out there on the street and through the circuit, but also I see on social media. I see what all these people are posting and the anger in the dating world between the men and women. The women angry because they feel like, these men, all they want is sex. And then the men, they're posting and commenting and saying, all these women just pump them and dump them. All they're after is money or, they're playing games and everything like that. Let me just say one thing before I get into this whole podcast about laid back dating. First of all, you got to understand something. There's a lot of people out there that are very scarred from their own experiences. All right. So that's why, a lot of times, sometimes when you go out with somebody who's older even or divorced even, they have a little bit of a different attitude than, let's say, somebody in their early 20s that's fresh and out there, so to speak. Because they've seen a lot and they get to a point where they're like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this and I'm not dealing with that. And if I see anybody, that even raises their voice to me, that's why a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, a lot of the older daters, they have a low tolerance for what they're going to put up with. And you get that occasionally with some of the younger people, but the older people have seen a lot more. But the thing is this, you guys, there's a lot of people out there that have a chip on their shoulder, all right? There's a lot of men that are very hurt. There's a lot of hurt women, but there's a lot of hurt men out there that have been hurt by a lot of women. See, the thing you got to understand is, yes, you go on the dating apps and 90% of it is game on there. And, a large percentage of the men are out there. They're just looking for sex. They're not looking for commitment. They're looking to have fun. Okay? And, but a lot of these guys have been hurt. They've been hurt by women that they have been with, and they're going out there and they're saying, you know what? I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to be a player and I'm just going to have fun, because I got hurt. I was a good guy. And you have women out there doing that as well. I told you before, there's a lot of married women that are on the dating apps as well and that are playing the game too. So now what do we have? We have a cycle of hurt people out there that are just looking to have fun and just play game, okay? And, I had one guy post on my social media saying, all women are bad and guys, don't get involved with these women and everything. Just so much anger. And I said to myself, you know what? This is a very hurt person. This is somebody who's really, really been burnt. And the thing is this, you guys, there are good people out there. There are loyal women out there. There are loyal men out there. They exist, but you have to find them. You have to be looking in the right places. If you put yourself in the wrong place, you're going to meet the wrong types of people. Okay? In other words, you don't go to a strip club expecting to meet a woman that is looking to settle down and be home every night and have a family. I mean, some strippers do, but I'm just saying, you put yourself with somebody that wants the same kind of lifestyle that you want to have. So you look for somebody that has a common goal, has a common interest that you want, okay? That's why I told you before. You know, if you're going to go for people that are out there partying is what you're going to get back. You're going to get somebody who's going to be unattainable. If you go for somebody whose friends are all important to them more than a partner would be important to them, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a struggle because it's going to be you or the friends who they're going to want to hang out with, okay? So now we're talking about the laid-back dater, all right? The laid-back dater is somebody that doesn't progress in dating. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is because a large reason why people are laid back is because they've been hurt. And they say things like, fuck it, I'm not going to continue. You know, this person's not showing me much and everything like that. So now, what do we have? We have women that are, you know, stepping back and being a little bit like, you know what? He's got to show me. And you got the men doing the same thing. You know what? Don't show her too much attention, guys. Don't be a good guy. A lot of women don't want good guys or they'll step all over you. That is completely untrue, okay? That is completely untrue. Because a woman that values herself and has self-worth, okay, is not going to deal with some guy who's going to treat her like crap. Not going to happen, all right? Because I know a lot of high-value women that are not going to tolerate that. And they would show you the same respect that you show them. See, this is what it is. We're all human beings. And if you show somebody respect, that person, if they have any idea of what respect is, will show you respect back. But what happens is people get involved with people that maybe don't have, you know, good character or don't have, you know, a set of values. So, you know, you deal with somebody, for instance, that, you know, cancels all the time on you or ghosts on you or plays games on you. That is not somebody that you waste your time with or give your time to, okay? That is somebody that is a flake that doesn't value your time, okay? So we don't sweat people like that. We push them to the side and we don't bother because we're above that. They can go play their games with somebody else who doesn't know what it is or what's up. So the thing is, a large thing that you have to do is you have to be focused. When you're out there, you have to be focused. It's like looking for a job, you guys. You know, people go through such, they look at a job and they analyze it in every which way. But when it comes to a partner, all they're looking at is, you know, oh, they're good looking and okay, they have a job. That's good enough for them. That's all they're looking at. They're not looking at everything about that person. They're not looking at their relationship to their family. They're not looking at their prior track record or, you know, their dating history or, you know, if they have, you know, 5 kids from 4 different men or vice versa or something like that, or they don't know how to be in a long-term relationship. I'm telling you, now listen, when I tell you this, somebody's track record is going to tell you everything about them because the greatest indicator of future behavior is prior behavior. Believe me when I tell you that, all right? Very few people change. You know, they have to really, really, you know, come to like an awakening to really change their complete character. And, you know, people's character are people's character. This is what they've been molded to be. You know, you can't take somebody who has no character, somebody who, you know, doesn't call when they're supposed to call or something like that. You know, you could say something to them about it and they may be good for a little while. But what happens, you guys, is eventually they go back to their old ways. And this is why I tell you with exes. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit. A lot of people say, well, should you take your ex back? First of all, rule number 1, your ex is your ex for a reason. You broke up with that person for a reason. And what you need to do is you need to think about, why did you break up with that person? What was the turning point to make you break up with that person? Did that person drive you to a point where you said, you know what? They're not valuing me. I'm walking away. Did that person break your boundaries and was cheating on you? Was that person not showing you enough attention? Did that person not care enough or show you enough interest? You got to remember these things. And even if they come back, okay, of course they're going to be nice in the beginning. Of course they're going to apologize if it's a case of that. Of course they're going to say they're going to change. All right? Everybody does that, because why do they do that? Because they want you back. They want you back because maybe they went out there and things weren't so great, or whoever else they were busy with, they realized that you were a better option. So now they're coming back to you. But the thing you got to keep in your mind is, okay, they're coming back, all right? You lay your ground rules down, you set up your boundaries. But the thing is, their basic character is their basic character. They will be good for a little while because they want to, bring you back in. And then eventually, who they really are, the mask will come off and they're going to go back to their old ways. This happens time and time again. I can't tell you how many people that I know, that I've dealt with, that it's the same broken record. They take their exes back, and their ex is good for like a week, a month maybe, and maybe by like the second month, the person is back doing the same things they were doing that caused the breakup, okay? So, you got to keep all these things in mind when you're dealing with people. So now I'm going to go back and talk about how the laid back dater, how this all relates, you guys. The laid back dater is somebody that, is either somebody that's been hurt and they're not going to put a lot into it, or it's somebody that, is not really looking for a relationship, or it's somebody who's really not into you. So you gotta, in any event, if somebody's not showing you enough, this is not somebody that you worry about. Then you keep looking till you find somebody that progresses, that wants to progress, and that wants to see you on a regular basis. You don't sit there and cry over somebody that, calls you all the time and never makes a date. That person is a waste of your time. Okay? So that's what I would call the laid back dater. It's almost like breadcrumbing. It's somebody that's keeping you on a string and keeping in contact with you. They may even be giving you a little bit of love bombing here and there, all right, telling you how interested they are in you. But, their actions aren't matching, and you feel like you're in this limbo. You're in this state of limbo. Maybe you've been seeing this person for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Maybe you're in a state of, you don't know if you're in a relationship or not because this person hasn't made it clear. They're kind of just leaving strings open. And why are they leaving strings open? You have to read between the lines. If they're not making it clear, then they're not all in. Now, you don't waste your time with somebody who's not all in. You don't waste your time with the laid back dater. This is why I see so many people, in the group or on the posts about ghosting and dating and everything like that. And they're expecting so much from these people. They're expecting these people to progress in dating, and they're sitting there and they're saying to themselves, why aren't they making a date? They call me, but why aren't they making a date? Or there could be a million reasons why they're not. They could have somebody that you don't know. They could have a situationship, or they could just be somebody that's talking to a lot of different people and they're stringing you along, okay? But you don't give these people your time because they're not showing you enough. But the other thing that I want to bring up is this. If you're dealing with somebody, you also are sending them a signal as well. You're analyzing them, you're looking at them, you're seeing what kind of person you're dealing with. You're checking out, through conversation, their whole past and their history and everything like that. And you're coming to, a conclusion of who they are and everything like that. But then you have to look at yourself and you have to say to yourself, what impression am I giving off? Okay? Because this is really important, you guys. I think that a lot of people, they're so focused on what the other person is doing that they're not thinking about how they are projecting themselves. How are you coming across to that other person? You want to show them interest without looking desperate. And this is the fine line of dating, okay? This is the fine line of dating that a lot of people miss the mark, because people either show too much attention where they're calling them all the time, or the person's not asking them out on a date, so they start asking them out a date, or they start saying, when am I going to see you? Or, I don't understand. You told me how much you like me, but you never make time to see me, or something like that. Now you're making yourself look desperate. You're coming off desperate, okay? You want to show interest without coming off desperate, okay? It doesn't mean that you stay silent either. See, that's the other thing too. A lot of people don't realize they try to stay laid back about things, and, they're afraid to mention something to somebody and everything like that, okay? Like, for instance, I had somebody that I was dealing with who was a friend of mine, and he said something to me like, oh, I'd really like to come see you, yada, 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 yada. Now, I knew what this guy was about. I knew this guy was a player. And I've seen this 1,000 times because they've hit my inbox 1,000,000 times, all right? Because, like I've told you guys before, I'm in over 400 groups on Facebook. Facebook, I'm really big with Facebook, all right? So a lot of these guys are from the groups in Facebook that I've managed, and, I've been an administrator in these groups and everything. So I know how these guys operate, all right? And I know when they're coming at me, how, what they're looking for, all right? So I was very clear with him, and I was like, listen, I'm not looking for a hookup, and I'm telling you right now, I am not the one, all right? And this guy was hitting my inbox all the time, and the minute I told him that, he all of a sudden stopped hitting my inbox, and he said, well, keep in contact. See, right there, I pinned him for what he was. I knew what he was looking for. He thought he was going to come visit me, and he was looking for a hookup, okay? And, I had to make it clear, because if I did not make it clear with him, I would have wasted my time texting back and forth with this person for hours, for days, for months, okay? And it would have been wasted time, because I would have been looking at this person like, okay, maybe this is progressing towards something, when really it wasn't, okay? Because I knew who he was and what he was looking for. So this is what I'm telling you. Those are not people that you go after. You have to be in the right places around the right people that are looking for the same things that you are looking for, in the right type of interest groups, not in the sex groups, not in, all these kind of, types of groups that you see all over the place in Facebook. And there's all different kinds of groups, you guys, all right? You have business groups, you have interest groups, you have sex groups, Know your target is what I'm saying. Know your target and know who you're dealing with. And if you know who you're dealing with, you will know if you could progress. If you're dealing with a laid back dater who is somebody that's basically looking to breadcrumb you, not to get to know you, but, is basically looking for a hookup and not telling you that, you have to be very clear about who you are. And, if they get turned off from it, that's fine. Then they're not for you. And then you're saving yourself a lot of wasted time. Now you're saving yourself from talking to this person for hours, okay? And progressing with this person only to find out months later that this person had no interest in really moving forward with you or having a relationship with you, okay? So that's a good way to weed it through. Just don't be afraid to speak up and let people know who you are. Because if they're on the same page, they're not going to have a problem with it. They're going to move forward with you, okay? And if they're not, then great. Now you don't waste my time anymore, okay? So this is how you got to look at it, you guys, when you're dealing with people and you're out there and you're dealing with the laid back dater. See, the problem that I see is so many people give so much time to the wrong people. It's like a good friend of mine, all right? This guy, he's like, like a brother, all right? And he said to me a long time ago, when I was dating out there, he said to me, he goes, "Why do you give these guys your time?" He said, like these guys that I knew from the groups and everything like that. He's like, "You're looking in the wrong place. Why do you give these guys your time?" And he was so right. He was so right in what he was telling me, okay? Because I was taking something and trying to make, something out of somebody that was not the right person. So you see what I'm trying to say? It's like, even like my Instagram. I have a lot of guys on my Instagram. I have over 33,000 men on my Instagram, okay? And a lot of them hit my inbox. But do I date them? No, okay? No. Because I know what 90% of them are about, and it's a waste of time. So I know that is not the right place to look for somebody. I mean, occasionally people get lucky, but for the most part, a lot of these guys that follow me are from the Facebook groups, and I know the groups, and I know where they're coming from, and I know what's on their mind. How do I know? Because I've been through it 1,000 times, you guys, all right? So this is what I'm telling you when I talk about, the laid back dater, all right? Don't give your time to the laid back dater. Don't give your time to somebody that's not progressing forward the way you should be progressing, talking to you on a regular basis, seeing you on a regular basis, okay? That is progressing towards something, not that you're just one of their options. If you feel like you're an option, then trust your gut. Then you most likely are an option, or they have somebody on the side, okay? And then you have to keep looking till you find, you will know. When you hit the right person, you will know, because you won't have to question it. If you sit there and have to question it, then it's not right. Then you don't have the right person, okay? So I just wanted to make this clear, about the laid back dater, because so many people are, off the mark, and they're talking to people that they shouldn't be giving their time to, okay? And they should be dealing with people that want to get to know them. I mean, this is we're talking about relationships here. I mean, if it's a hookup or something like that, that's a totally different thing. You could have a million different people that you could touch base with, this and that, that's a whole different ball game, you guys. All right. But we're talking about, you're looking for a little bit more. All right. So I hope that helps you. If it did, please hit the subscribe button and share, and have a great day. Audible is offering listeners a 30-day trial. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free 30-day trial. You get to select any book that you want on there and listen to it. They have books on there about breadcrumbing, love bombing, why did they lose interest, dating, relationship, any kind of book you're interested in and want to learn about, okay? You could listen to it in your car, or if you're on the bus or the train. So go to my podcast description for the link at tinyurl.com/AskYazNow and start your free trial. Hi, I want to tell you guys about 2 books that I have on Amazon that I think will help you. One is Regain Your Power. It's all about how to have power in your relationships, whether you're dating somebody or you're in a relationship and you feel like you're out of control, and it tells you basically there's a lot of tips on how to regain your power with your partner. The other book is called He's Not That Into You, He's Wasting Your Time. And it also has a lot of tips for people that are dating somebody or in a relationship with somebody and they just don't know if their partner is into them. Okay, both books, I'm running a promotion. They're only 99 cents on Amazon. The link is in my podcast description. So check them out. I think they could be useful. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoy them and have a great day.